I will explain the case of the studies, which is between Government of Malaysia versus Gurcharan Singh and others. And I will explain about the case. Gurcharan Singh, a young and ambitious individual, was offered an opportunity to pursue teacher training funded by the government. The agreement was simple. After completing his training, Gurcharan would dedicate 5 years of his life to serving as a teacher, nurturing the minds of young students. To ensure his commitment, two sureties stood by him, pledging their support in case anything went wrong. The government, seeing Gurcharan's potential, invested in his education, covering training expenses amounting to 11,500. For 3 years and 10 months, Gurcharan upheld his promise, working diligently as a teacher. However, before completing his 5 years term, he resigned, leaving the government feeling betrayed. The breach of contract led to a legal battle. The government, as the plaintiff, sought compensation for the training expenses. Their claim was straightforward. Gurcharan had broken his word. However, Gurcharan's defense took an unexpected turn. He argued that the contract was void because at the time of signing he was a minor and thus legally incapable of entering into a binding agreement. The court had to weigh the government's loss against Gurcharan's claim of being too young to fully comprehend the gravity of his promise.
Hi, I'm Msia. I will continue the issues of the case. The first, liability of an infant for breach of contract. Can a minor infant be held liable for failing to fulfill the terms of a contract? The second issues, liability of the sureties. Are the second and third defendant as sureties responsible for the breach committed by the first defendant? Moreover, claim for necessaries. Are the defendants collectively liable for the cost of necessary provided under the agreement? The last one is reasonableness of the claim. Is the plaintiff claim for $11,500 as expenses for training reasonable and justifiable?
Hi, my name is Irdina and I will explain the rule for the case. Firstly, Section 11, Legal Capacity to Contract, defines the condition under which a person is competent to enter into a contract, including age of maturity. Secondly, Section 69, Claim for Necessary, allows recovery of expense incurred for necessary provided to a minor from the minor's estate. Lastly, Section 81, Surety's Liability, establish that the liability of a surety is coextensive with that of the principal debtor.
Next is the application and conclusion of the case. Firstly is the application. The first application is professional training as necessaries. Training at the Malayan Teachers Training Institution was essential for qualifying as a teacher. Despite higher costs, training in England was deemed necessary due to its suitability and the lack of local alternatives. Secondly is the liability. The first defendant is personally liable for the breach after reaching the age of majority. The second and third defendants as surety are liable if the first defendant's liability is established. Next is case precedence reference. First is the case of Mohori Bibi versus Darmodas Ghost. Secondly is the case of Nash and V. Inman, and also the key references. Firstly is the case of Mohori Bibi and Darmodas Ghost. Minus agreement is void. Parents, guardians are not liable for minors contract without consent. Secondly is Nash v. Inman. The necessaries must suit the minor's condition and actual needs. The contract involving minors is the key reference for this case. There are 4 conclusions that can be made in this case. Firstly is the infant liability for breach of contract. The first defendant thought a minor at the time of the agreement is liable for the breach after reaching the age of majority. Secondly is surety's liability. The liability of the second and third defendants as sureties is contingent upon the first defendant's established liability. Thirdly is the liability for necessaries. Training expenses were classified as necessaries, making all defendants jointly liable for their costs. And lastly, the reasonableness of claim. The plaintiff's claim was adjusted and deemed reasonable at $2,683, reflecting the unfulfilled portion of the contract. And that's all for the conclusion that can be made for this case.